Welcome back to On the Sidelines College Football Edition. It's our pleasure to welcome in ESPN college football analyst David Pollack to the program. David, thanks for joining us. First off, the Terps. What do you think of new head coach Mike Locksley, and how much do you think he can turn Maryland around?
I think a lot of people, when they think Mike Locksley, they think of back his old coaching gig when he went 3-31, I think was his record. So it wasn't a good start, but you saw him rebuild his career, and you saw him come back with Nick Saban, and he was the architect, obviously, last year with one of the best seasons in history. Listen, I think you learn from your past mistakes. This is a guy that's cool as it gets. I think recruiting you saw coming in at the end of last season, salvaging the recruiting class from Maryland. This is an offense, I think, that will be fun to watch. It'll be dynamic, and Locksley's learned a lot of ball and a lot of offense over the years, and I think he'll do a good job with this offense.
The quarterback Josh Jackson comes over from Virginia Tech. What kind of player can Jackson be?
I think the Terps have a good starting spot with Josh Jackson at the QB spot. He's a guy that has experience. It's really hard to come in and build an offense around somebody you don't know what they can do. And is he going to be too big? Is the moment going to be too big for him? If you watch Virginia Tech, when he was a true freshman, almost set a Virginia Tech record, almost 3,000 yards, 20-plus touchdowns. Enough of a dual-threat guy with experience. Now you pair that with Anthony McFarland Jr. and some of the weapons you have on Maryland. I think you expect this offense to be high-flying, to be fun, and to be better in the passing game, along with a great rushing attack that they had a year ago.
Finally, size up the Big Ten East division for us. Does Maryland even have a chance this year?
Does Maryland have a chance to win the Big Ten? No. What do you want to see if you're a Maryland fan? I think you want to see evolution, and you want to see this offense complete the passing game in the air and start going in the right direction. Has had some dynamic moments, and you had a 200-yard rusher in back-to-back week against Indiana and Ohio State, and you had exciting times. But I think to be more organized, to be more consistent, I think you'll see that from the offensive side of the football. Maryland's not going to have a phenomenal year and compete to win the Big Ten, but if you're a Maryland fan, just look for a little bit of improvement and more consistency on a week-in and week-out basis.
David, thanks so much for joining us tonight. All right, back to the FCS level. Morgan State making a change at head coach, bringing in a big name to try and orchestrate a big turnaround. Tyrone Wheatley takes over the Bears program. He is Morgan's fourth head coach in the last 5 years. Wheatley takes over a team that went 4-7 in 2018 under Ernest T. Jones. For Wheatley, training camp was all about getting his players to buy in and get through the hard days, while his players are already seeing a change in attitude all around the program.
So far, so good. Guys are responding well. I guess for me, what I'm looking for is really, truly how they respond to adversity. And I'm trying to foster adversity, give them some of that, and they've responded.
He just brought that mindset of winning, that competitive spirit, and, him being in the league, we just buy into that because all the guys on the team, that's the level they want to get to, is the next level, the NFL.
Him having the experience definitely makes players want to listen to him more because he's been there. He's been where we want to get to. And, listening to him, it just it changes, to a different mindset where it's like, this is a business. You have to do your job.
Wheatley was a star running back at the University of Michigan in the early 90s, drafted in the first round by the New York Giants, also played for the Raiders. He's been a running backs coach at several Division I programs and in the NFL in Buffalo and Jacksonville. I asked him about his coaching philosophy.
Well, I guess for me, when you talk about what type of coach I am, it's really what I was brought up under. Discipline, physical, and at the end of the day, team. Team is the biggest portion of it, University of Michigan, the team, the great Bo speech. So there's nothing bigger than a team, no one man. So protect the team. All those things we talk about here is really what helps you win.
As for his team, in 2019, 17 returning starters. The Bears are picked to finish 8th out of the 9 teams in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Here are a few highlights of what's on tap for the Bears. They are headed to West Point on Saturday, the 21st. That will be their third of 3 straight road games to open the season. The home opener doesn't come until Saturday, the 28th, against North Carolina Central. That's a 6 p.m. kickoff. They host 2-time defending MEAC champion North Carolina A&T State on November 9th. The regular season finale is a trip to Howard on November 23rd. Over at Johns Hopkins, they also have a new head coach this season, But the change was not made by choice. For the first time since 1990, Jim Margraf won't be running the show for the Blue Jays. The longtime head coach and beloved member of the community passed away suddenly last January at the age of 58. His death shocking fellow coaches, players, and the entire Hopkins family. Taking over as head coach this season is Greg Camara. The 32-year-old gets the job after serving as Margraf's offensive coordinator for the past 5 seasons. He joined the coaching staff in 2009 following a 4-year playing career. Coach Camara and his players say Margraf's memory will be with them each and every day this season.
Still not really over it, honestly, from a personal standpoint, a grieving standpoint, but he would want this thing to go on and keep going. So, being named the James F. Margraf head football coach, reminds me of that every day. So, motivates me more than I would be normally to kind of make him proud and keep the program to where he left it.
There's not a day I step on this field where I don't think about Coach Margraf. This was his program. But, I think there's so much positivity, surrounding him. Everyone thinks of him in such a great light. And, I think we all know he's kind of looking down on us, especially this season. He's the guy, he's the man. So, we think about him a lot. And I think a lot of the season's going to be dedicated to him.
The Blue Jays will wear Coach Margraf's initials on their helmets this year. Hopkins is coming off its best season in program history, advancing to the 2018 Division III National Semifinals. They're a consensus top 6 team in the country entering 2019. Hopkins will kick off its season on Thursday when the Blue Jays travel to Randolph-Macon. Yellow Jackets advanced to the second round of the playoffs last year. The Jays play at Homewood Field for the first time in 19 on Saturday the 14th against Susquehanna. Other highlights: trip to Allentown to face rival Muhlenberg on November 2nd. They close the regular season on Saturday, November 16th in Westminster against regional rival McDaniel. Time for another break. Stay right there. We check in with McDaniel and Stevenson after this.